Consent decrees are a powerful tool to improve policing.
Danny Murphy is regarded as one of the country's leading voices on police consent decrees. Until recently, he was in charge of implementing the consent decree at the Baltimore Police Department, and before that, at New Orleans Police.
These are years-long processes.
Murphy says before the consent decree is signed, the Colorado Attorney General and Aurora Police have to agree on specific reforms, typically in areas like use of force, bias policing, and stops, searches, and arrests.
The length of the negotiation process in federal consent decrees can vary somewhat significantly. But I think it's in everyone's interest to try to come to an agreeable set of meaningful reforms as soon as possible.
Assuming an agreement is reached, Murphy says the real work then begins, rewriting department policies, changing the way the department trains officers, and making sure reforms are happening according to a specific timeline.
Consent decrees aren't just about policy and training. They're all about performance, and performance in line with community expectations. And the department's going to have to prove at the end of the day that it is performing in line with the new reforms.
And if they don't perform, Murphy says there will be serious consequences.
There will be baked into this decree process real accountability measures to ensure that the reforms are enacted at the end of the day. In various decrees, there have been receiverships where the agency is effectively taken over by someone outside of the agency.
Murphy said consent decrees often take about 10 years to complete, far too long for many people. But he said the changes he saw in Baltimore and New Orleans would not have been possible without consent decrees there. Kim and Tom?
Oh, so they made a difference. But
yeah,
yet,
the results in those cities, are there any results yet to be examined yet or understood?
There are. In New Orleans, they're apparently way ahead of schedule, according to the judge who's overseeing the process, and in Baltimore, the same thing. It's a long process, and both cities still have a ways to go, but by many accounts, they're both doing well.
Well, it's a good thing to compare them to. We'll have to see in the days and weeks and months ahead how that happens.
It takes a while, and as Danny Murphy said, it's not a perfect process, and a lot of people are going to be frustrated by the timing.
I was going to say 10 years is too long for most anyone.
Like
people want change now if they see change needed.
Right, and Murphy also pointed out that it took these departments a long time to get to this position, and it'll take a while to get out.
Yeah. Like you said about trust, once you lose it.
It's easy to lose, hard to gain back.
Right.
We'll see what happens. Thanks, Matt.